Hello everyone, welcome to episode 6 of Tekken 6. In the last episode, we've encountered more veteran fighters, plus a new fighter who appeared in the arcade version of Tekken 6. Also, Tekken 6 introduces a few mechanics such as floor breaks and bound attacks. You can try out those mechanics by creating some combos with your characters in training mode. However, you need to know when to execute them when you're fighting against real opponents. Some combos can be pretty easy to manipulate, but there's a chance that you'll drop them in mid-string. If you drop your combo, or if your attack missed during your combo, well guess what? You need to figure out another way to damage your opponent. If your opponent blocks one of your attacks in mid-string, then there's a chance that your opponent will punish you with their attacks. There are some attacks that are not safe on block, so please be careful. Alright then, let's continue our journey. We're very close to see Heihachi, but first we have to enter the secret underground passage. Just letting you know that the boss that we're gonna face in this level will be our partner later on in the game. Who would have guessed there'd be a pathway like this down here?
Warning! Hidden surveillance systems are in position throughout the vicinity.
Not exactly a normal office building, now is it? There's your special flag right behind you, and it's very easy to get. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about this level. I know I've said this numerous times, but most of these levels in Scenario Campaign mode, like this straight pathway here in this level, are very linear, plain and simple. You just have to travel from point A to point B by defeating enemies and the boss at the very end of each level. The enemies you'll encounter here along the way are some facility soldiers, the jack robots, and the giant robots. The giant robots have a ton of health, and they drop flamethrowers once you defeat them. Well, some of them. And yes, you need to use the flamethrowers if you want to kill the enemies faster. If not, then you're gonna waste a little bit of time pummeling these giant robots because of their high health. If you're playing this level on hard mode, beating up enemies barehanded will be a lot difficult because if you're planning to use that method, then there's a chance that you won't be able to complete the level in time because of the giant robots. Remember, the timer is a bit shorter in hard mode, and you need to defeat some enemies if you want to add more time. Oh, I almost forgot. The boxes and the jack robots will drop from the ceiling out of nowhere, which is pretty weird. If you go underneath them in their shadows, and if they drop on you, you'll take damage. The boxes will stun you for a bit, and the jack robots will knock you down on the floor. So when you see their shadows on the floor, you need to avoid them and wait until they crash into the floor, and then you can proceed. There are some flamethrowers in boxes too, so use them wisely. There are also red guys too that causes fire damage that knocks you down on the floor. So yeah, please be careful. Yep, that's pretty much it. Just a straightforward level, and we're on our way to meet with the boss of this level, which a majority of you guys who played this game before knew who it was. He's tricky, but he's not that hard to defeat. So, how is everyone today? Doing okay? Play some games lately? You enjoy your vacation or something? Your weekends, weekdays, so forth? Well, if you ask me, I'm just pretty busy with a few errands off screen and stuff. That's just it. Hey, there's a red guy right there, just standing there fist pumping and cracking his knuckles. Well, you have the option to suplex him if you want, but I don't know why you would just drop from the ceiling and then just standing there just had his back turned with us just sneaking up behind him. I don't know why, but oh well, we might as well just annihilate him.
You made it this far. I'm impressed.
What the? Where'd you come from?
Warning! The target utilizes optical camouflage technology. Proceed with caution.
So, this is Raven, a UN intelligence agent with a ninjutsu fighting style. His whereabouts is unknown, and his first appearance is in Tekken 5. The character design for Raven is very interesting. According to my research, Namco wanted a cool black guy with ninja skills to join the roster, and this is where the inspiration comes in. Raven resembles a famous actor named Wesley Snipes who plays both of these characters. Simon Phoenix, the blonde-haired guy from the movie Demolition Man, and Blade, the vampire hunter from the Marvel Comics and the Blade movies. He also resembles a couple of ninja characters who have a similar moveset like Ryu Hayabusa from the Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive series, and a similar face design like Killer Bee from the Naruto series, with the blonde hair and sunglasses. So yeah, Raven is a very neat character, and here's his description for his appearance in Tekken 6. After infiltrating the King of Iron Fist Tournament 5, Raven found Heihachi, who many believed he was dead, and engaged him in combat. Before the fight ended, Raven was ordered back to headquarters and retreated. As the world was trying to recover from the devious work of the Mishima State, the conflict between that organization and the G Corporation escalated. It appeared to be only a matter of time before this discord turned into a large-scale encounter. Raven infiltrated the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6 in order to stop further carnage. Those shades kind of remind me of someone who has a similar pair of shades, but it's not like Raven's though. I wonder. Nah, I must be imagining things. But anyway, let us continue to our next area.
While tracking and locating several surveillance cameras in the vicinity, we encountered an agent utilizing optical camouflage. He was part of an international secret service and has come to aid us in our mission. He informed us of the current whereabouts of the former Mishima State head, Heihachi Mishima. The words Heihachi Mishima increased Lars' heart rate and perspiration by 20%, denoting a clear connection between the two.
Alrighty folks, our next destination is the Mishima Estate, and spoiler alert, this will be the very first time that Lars meets Heihachi Mishima in person. Lars was curious about meeting him, but unfortunately the conversation between the two didn't turn out so well. Heihachi Mishima? Something about that name makes me nauseous.
Are you alright? Do you require medical assistance?
Thanks, but I'll manage. Now let's hurry! At the beginning of this level, you'll notice that these walls are blocked off, but they're not. Except for the middle wall, which is the dead end. If you wait for a few seconds, the left wall in front of you will be broken off by a security guard, and that security guard will attack you. If you went on ahead instead of waiting, then you're forced to break the wall on the right. Each of the rooms have different kind of enemies no matter what path you take. The enemies you'll encounter in this stage are the security guards, the enemies with claws, a few ninjas, and the big red guy. The claw enemies can pop out from the boxes inside the building, and they'll pop out from the dirt outside the building. They're all in the same spot, and they don't change positions, so there's no need to worry if you knew where they'll pop out in front of you. The Mishima Estate is by far my favorite level in this game. Why? It's because the atmosphere feels like something you'll see in ancient Japan. I really like the nature setting in this stage, and the building itself looks tremendously awesome. Did you know that Street Fighter Cross Tekken has this stage? Well, they do. In Street Fighter Cross Tekken, not only does that stage capture the aesthetics of the Mishima Estate in Tekken 6, but they also have 3 remixes of Heihachi's theme for each round. In round 1, there's a remix of Heihachi's theme from the console version of Tekken 2. In round 2, there's a remix of Heihachi's theme from the arcade version of Tekken 3. In round 3, there's a remix of Heihachi's theme from the console version of Tekken 3. So yeah, there's your nostalgia. Street Fighter Cross Tekken brought this stage back with the remixes from the classic Tekken games. The Mishima Estate in Street Fighter Cross Tekken also has background characters, and some of those background characters have the ones from the Scenario Campaign mode in Tekken 6. And I gotta say, Street Fighter Cross Tekken has some really nice vibes in that game. So much nostalgia. Pretty good. Well, enough about that. We'll confront Heihachi right after we deal with these security guards and the claw enemies that pop out of the dirt. So you're Heihachi Mishima.
And you are?
Lars Alexanderson, former member of the Tekken Force.
Ah, you're the rebel army leader I heard so much about. Amusing. Allow me to test just how strong you truly are.
So, this is Heihachi Mishima, the man who is the head honcho of the entire Tekken franchise. The man who created these King of Iron Fist tournaments. The man who threw his own son up a cliff. The man who ruined most people's lives. The man who was very desperate for power. The man who invented soda. Sorry, I'm just kidding about that last part. I just like saying a lot of goofy stuff with a dark tone voice. It's pretty funny to me. Yeah, it's a force of habit, but I never get tired of stuff like that. I like to entertain myself sometimes. It's just fun that way. But anyway, here's Heihachi's description. Heihachi's from Japan, and his fighting style is the Mishima style fighting karate. Heihachi was knocked unconscious when the Jack military unit he was fighting self-destructed. When he came to, the King of Iron Fist Tournament 5 was already over. He went home without any knowledge of the events that occurred at the tournament, where he was ambushed by the Tekken Force. Afterward, the Mishima State announced the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6. Heihachi was furious when he heard that Jin had taken control of the Zaibatsu, and he left for the tournament to reclaim control of the Mishima Zaibatsu. One more thing about Heihachi is that ever since I saw him throw Kazuya off the cliff for the first time, thus ruining his life and became evil, I realized that Heihachi's the bad guy in this game. From what I heard in the Tekken media months ago, he wanted power and world domination for himself. The main reason why these Tekken characters are fighting in these tournaments is because of Heihachi. Well, yes and no. Each character has their own purpose to participate in these King of Iron Fist tournaments, and some of them don't involve Heihachi in their lives. It can be another reason why they participated in these tournaments, but that's just them. Heihachi did ruin some of their characters' lives, and, well, let's just say that things don't go really well for him. Heihachi has so many enemies in the Tekken series, including his family. His only solution to solve his problems is the only way he does know how to do. Fight! And just to prove my point, Heihachi doesn't get along with everyone, and doesn't give a crap to everyone, except for his pet Kuma. Just Kuma and nobody else. In fact, here's a cutscene where Heihachi and Lars do not get along very well.
大丈夫ですか？
少しめまいがしただけだ。わしを圧倒するほどの力を。もしやお前は今の戦いで全て思い出すことができた。この足を引く以上、お前のように衰えていくことは避けられないということか。何？お前が北欧で指揮した作戦を覚えているか？まさかお前が？察しがいいな。欲しい役は思っておった。だが今はそんな話はどうでもいい。俺はお前を倒すためにここに来たんだからな。わざわざ訪ねてきたからにはわしと手を組むつもりだと思っておる。勘違いするな。それに三島平八ともあろう者が他人を当てにするとはな。わしが貴様ごときを。うぬぼれるな。 の存在はわしと数名の者しか知らぬはず。お前をよく知る人物から教えてもらった。ワンのじじい、余計なことを。どこにある？あれはある場所に厳重に保管されておる。手出しはできん。答える気はない。ならばもう用はない。そこどけ。
お父様に銃を向けるなんていけないことです。
Wait a second, what did Lisa just say? Heihachi is Lars's father? That's what she said? Oh my god, don't tell me Heihachi. Yup, he did. He donated sperm, and this is what he gets. Lars Alexanderson has entered Second 6. Well, Heihachi, you really crossed the line this time. Okay, seriously, how on earth can he catch a bullet in your mouth? That is impossible. If you're trying to do something like that, then you're gonna end up having a giant hole in your teeth. Seriously though, you're gonna end up having a toothache if you're trying to do something like that. Unfreeze!
当主に返り咲くことなんて諦めてサーカスに転身したらどうだ。ほざけ小僧。どうした？例の碑文の件、分かったぞ。三島財閥の本社地下施設に保管されているらしい。そう。また何か分かったら連絡してくれ。了解だ。聞くまでもなかったらしい。だが忘れるな。お前は必ずこの俺が倒す。よろしいのですか？放っておけ。そのうちまとめて手に入れてくれるわ。
Heihachi Mishima is, in fact, Lars's father. The reunion was unlike the idealistic images conveyed in popular media, but the trauma of fighting against his own father reinstated Lars's memory. We now have both the Mishima Zaibatsu and the G Corporation to face, extending our time for the mission.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's over with. Heihachi is just the Heihachi we all know, and there's nothing we can do about it. As you can see here in this map, there are two branching levels that you can enter. It doesn't matter what order you choose, but as long as you unlock that character, especially the one that you wanted to play with, then you're good to go. So I'll pick where to go. We're entering the Central District 11th Avenue, which is the right side of the screen. And this is where the difficulties begin to pick up. We're halfway towards the end of the game, so no need to rush through it. The enemies are a bit tougher in later levels, but you already know how to deal with them. I've seen Warzone safer than this place.
A prime example how wars can dramatically increase crime rates.
No point in staying longer than we have to. Let's move! The enemies in this level are gangsters and thugs that'll appear out of bounds left and right from you and from the ceiling. I don't get it. Why on earth are a bunch of enemies appear from the ceiling? It doesn't make any sense. It's pretty much an open area and they're just dropping like flies. Ugh, you know what? Forget it. Each stage has their own gimmicks and they can be a bit annoying to handle. The enemies here are a little bit tougher, so if you're having a hard time dealing with these thugs, then I recommend you to customize your character's clothing that gives you a bunch of health, a certain amount of damage dealt to your enemies, or any other effect that can help you in both normal fights and boss fights. Also, you can either pick up a flamethrower or a crowbar in this level and attack your enemies that way, in case you require some distance. Overall, this level doesn't look that hard once you get used to the controls and the mechanics of this scenario campaign mode. Just take your time, and there's no need to rush. I know you're gonna fight the same enemies over and over again, but that was when Tekken 6 introduced this mode when the game first came out on consoles. Actually, this mode was brought back from the previous 3 Tekken games. Back then, this mode was called the Tekken Force mode. You had to fight these enemy soldiers in order to reach to the boss at the end of the level. Tekken 6 was like this. The scenario campaign mode, Tekken Force, yep, they're the same thing. In Tekken 3 and 4, if you die in one of those levels, you have to restart the entire mode all over again. That means if you reach to like the final boss of the game and you die, then you have to redo all of that all over again. You had to start from the very beginning and you had to fight all those bosses again. That was back then. But in Tekken 5 and Tekken 6, I'm so glad that they changed that rule. Because if I had to play like 2 hours of gameplay footage and I died in one of the levels, then I had to restart the entire thing all over again. All 2 hours for it. That would be a nightmare if that's in the game. But I'm glad they didn't. Sure, the scenario campaign mode may look repetitive, but it's also fun to play. And so does the Tekken Force mode back in the classic Tekken games. Tekken 3, Tekken 4, Tekken 5, those are fun to play too. I enjoy beating up bad guys for fun, and you get so many rewards for doing that. If you guys want to see more of this with another character in Tekken 6, let me know in the comments and I'll post those videos. For example, if you want me to play Jin Kazama in scenario campaign mode with Capcom music, I can do that, but those requests are up to you. We're almost at the end of the level, but can you guess what boss we're gonna fight once we get there?
Stop right there. Where do you think you're taking that girl?
Move along, sir.
Hang on, miss. I'll save you.
Okay, this is benzoate ostalazine bicarbonate, or you can call him Bob. I'm just kidding about that long name, but his name is really Bob. Bob with no last name. He's one of the new characters to enter Tekken 6, and his trademark was a combination of speed and weight, meaning that he's a power character with attacks that are fast maneuvering. Here's his description for entering the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6. Bob is from the United States of America, and his fighting style is freestyle karate. Bob had always been very serious about his training. He was hailed as a master of martial arts from a very young age, and he garnered many fans with his chiseled body and good looks. However, he could not defeat opponents who were larger than him. He vanished from the martial arts scene and dedicated himself to a special training regimen that increased his power and weight while maintaining his agility. After several years in seclusion, Bob returned to the fighting world a changed man. Those who know Bob were astonished by his transformation. His handsome looks were gone, and he gained a disproportionate amount of weight. Bob paid no attention to his critics and relied on the benefits of his training: speed, power, and unyielding weight. He decided that he was ready to return to the competition. He joined the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6 to test his martial arts abilities once again.
This town has an astonishingly high crime rate, but we were able to find one man with a strong sense of justice. He leads a group of vigilantes for the purpose of protecting the city's inhabitants, and so mistook Lars and I for criminals. He eventually led us to the outskirts of the city and told us that we could find safe haven in a tourist city just ahead.
Alright, so the level below Bob's level was now unlocked, but we're heading left to enter the ICPO branch office. After this level, we'll continue our progression in the next episode. The ICPO. There's bound to be something on Mishima here, but getting our hands on it is the trick. We can't exactly march in through the front door.
There seem to be quite a few G Corporation soldiers present at the Interpol Bureau.
The unit answers directly to Kazuya. Come on. Wow, look at the camera angle at the start of the level. You can see a helicopter hovering in the city with all the cityscape lights and stuff. Man, you gotta admit, that looks pretty cool. So, you guys are wondering who the boss is in this level. Well, it turns out that we're not fighting a Tekken boss character here. Instead, he will help us fight the enemies during our progression. Don't worry about him. He's not gonna die in his own level. And I just gave you a hint of who this person might be. You probably might guess it because of the name ICPO and office. Those terms might give you a clue of who this character might be. Tell me, what are your orders? Need to know basis, buddy. Now beat it before we beat you. If you think I'm the type to run at a petty threat like that, you're dead wrong. The enemies you'll encounter here are the Jack robots, the G Corporation soldiers, and the giant robots. At the end of this level, make sure you take down the reinforcements first before you can target the giant robots. Or vice versa if you want. Also, you have to watch out for the G Corporation soldiers with stunt rods, or else you'll get shocked for a second, leaving you vulnerable for another attack. Don't let them ambush you either. Lei Wulong will help you fight these bad guys. And speaking of Lei, here's his description for entering Tekken 6. Lei Wulong is from China, and his fighting style is the 5-style Chinese martial arts. Lei came to Japan pursuing Fang Wei. However, Fang's trail ended up and he was unable to catch him. After returning to Hong Kong, Lei continued to search for Fang. Unfortunately, he was ordered to suppress several disturbances occurring around the world and was unable to continue his quest. With large-scale war plaguing the Earth, Lei learned that the Mishima Saibatsu was quite active behind the scenes. He therefore infiltrated the King of Iron Fist Tournament 6 to catch the true culprit, Jin Kazama. Lei Wulong's first appearance is Tekken 2, and he's considered to be one of the trickiest characters to fight with. He has so many different styles that they're very interesting. He has the crane style, the snake, the tiger, the drunken fist, etc. etc. He resembles another popular martial artist named Jackie Chan. His moveset is a bit similar to Jackie, but it's nice that this character had an inspiration, just like Martial Law, who resembles Bruce Lee, as an inspiration. That giant robot that was waiting for you ahead is a mini boss of this level, but not an actual boss like a Tekken character. A few more enemies will appear from the ceiling out of nowhere and then attack you. I recommend you fight the most annoying enemies first, such as these G-Corp soldiers with stunt rods. There are some clothing items that can nullify certain elemental attacks, such as a certain clothing item that can nullify electric attacks where electric attacks won't stun you and such. Yeah, those kind of items. But getting them is completely random, kind of like a gacha game that you play on your phone. So, according to customization, you might as well just take what you have. And if you don't have that certain item that can nullify these elemental attacks, well, you're just gonna have to deal with what you have in your inventory right now. You can just complete these levels without them. That's actually a possibility. Remember, you have the option to customize your character and give him or her the aesthetics of dealing with certain enemy attacks along with your abilities. This is mandatory for you to do this in later levels.
大丈夫か Yeah, thanks to you.
急速に接近するヘリコプターがあります。
見たよ
この音は人種が使用している機体のものです。
Wow, it must really poke you out of the picture. それだけ真相に近づいているということだ。ここから立つ。その次に逃げて。Alright, I can take it. Man, the way you fight, they should be the ones running. そろそろ俺たちも行こう。
After narrowly escaping the G Corporation's attacks as they surrounded the ICPO, we made contact with Detective Lei Wulong. His information revealed that Kazuya Mishima had only gained his position by eliminating all who opposed him. According to the detective, Kazuya has fought against his father multiple times already, the hatred now carrying over to the current head of the Mishima Zaibatsu, Jin Kazama. I am certain things will not go well between Kazuya and his half-brother Lars.
Wait a second. That helicopter Lisa was fighting against had an autopilot feature. It had some kind of scanner thingamajig that detects any targets that are getting in the way. Plus, there's nobody in there! I don't know why, but I'm guessing that one of the G-Corp soldiers set the helicopter on autopilot and then attacked Lars, preventing him from rescuing Elisa when she fell off the street. No need to worry everyone, Elisa is an android, so she's still okay. Lars just needs to check on her, that's all. And that concludes episode 6 of Tekken 6. So, there are 3 areas we can tackle in the map screen. But, which one of these levels are we heading next? Find out in the next episode of Tekken 6. Alright, I'll see you guys later.